In my long-term relationship, I lost my entire sense of self-worth.
Ooh.
I was allowing this person to treat me this way.
Yes.
It's not until the end that it's like, wow, I really kind of did that to myself.
It's okay, but if you have this feeling in your heart that it's not right for you and it's unhealthy, then that means it probably is not the best fit for you. Take your time getting out of it, but just go ahead and pack a little bit, work your way out.
And maybe, babe, this is your sign.
Yeah, literally, maybe this is your sign to wrap it up
for a reason.
Yeah.
And like, this is where you need to love yourself more.
Yeah.
Because I wish I loved myself more earlier.
Hello and welcome back to the More Please podcast. I'm your host, Bailey Amethyst, and this is a podcast where I hold your hand and help you find your most abundant self. Today is our Valentine's Day episode, so babies, I know we're used to talking about relationships and partners, which we will be discussing, but we want to make sure we lean into your relationship with yourself and just feeling love from within. So I'd like to welcome our guest, Leah Robinson. She's my producer, but also my friend and my baby, and I thought she would be perfect to kind of usher us into a relationship with self. Leah, welcome.
Thank you for having me. You know, it's a little out of my comfort zone, but we're doing it.
Yeah.
So.
You guys should feel lucky because she really does not step in front of the camera. She's always my behind the scenes girls. So if you're wondering how my content is consistent and put together, this is my brain.
Yes, I do my best. I do my best, which I feel like we are going to do so well in 2025. So I'm really excited for that.
It's going up.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to lean into a few things. But first, you guys know that we always start with a confession. So today's confession is coming from Leah. Take it away.
My confession is that in my long-term relationship, I lost my entire sense of self-worth.
Ooh. I just got chills. Yeah.
I can laugh now, but it wasn't funny. Yeah.
No, and that's not okay, but I feel like that's like such a common thing that happens to literally everybody on both sides.
Yeah.
And I want you to kind of like lean into that. Where do you think it started? Because it doesn't happen overnight, right?
It doesn't.
Was it like little compromises that you're like, I'll just, like...
Yeah, I think it just starts with like, maybe you really want to be with someone so badly that like you keep ignoring red flags that you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
And then after a while, it just keeps happening. You get a little deeper and deeper, and then it kind of is like, well, why would I throw away this thing because I've been in it for so long?
Yeah.
And so you just keep forgiving, right? But it's also like within that, you don't realize it when it's happening.
Yeah.
It's not until the end that it's like, wow, I really kind of did that to myself.
Yeah.
Because I was allowing this person to treat me this way.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like, and I am in the most healthy relationship that I've been in my life, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like it took me going through like the most unhealthy relationships to get there and to be able to recognize that. So when you say that to me, I'm like, I'm not surprised because I feel like we've all gone through situations where we're just like, who am I after we have been with somebody for so long? Like you morph into what they want.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what about what Leah wants?
Yeah, what I wanted didn't really matter, I don't think. Because at the end of the day, it was like, well, if I want to be with this person, you kind of sacrifice a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I really feel bad for that version of myself because even if I did think, okay, well, this is not how I want to be treated, or this is not the relationship that I wanted, for some reason I stayed around.
Yeah.
And I think that is due to the self-worth of it all.
Yeah, but that's what I was literally just going to ask, like, where do you feel like that stems from? Because there has to be like a self-esteem issue. And I'm saying this to like both of us, right? So back in my days when I was compromising and basically just putting up with things that I never should have been putting up with, I feel like I didn't feel worthy enough, and I had questioned like my worth. So where do you feel like that came into play with you? Like, do you feel like it was from childhood, or do you just feel like you didn't think you were cool enough? Like what?
I don't know. And maybe that's a therapy thing I still need to work through, because I don't know where it came from. But I was in counseling for like 2 years, a year and a half after. And I think just even coming to the realization that it is a self-worth issue was a big victory for me, because I was making up all the excuses for it.
Yeah. No, but even that, it is a horrible thing. But even just like coming to therapy and unpacking all of it, that's a big step. And I don't feel like a lot of people can even get there.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, no, we don't have all the answers right now.
Right.
But at least acknowledging like your worth.
I was 18 when I started dating this person. And so I think that maybe that has a lot to do with it too, right? Like I'm a kid. I went from 18 to 24. Yeah. And that's 18 and 24, two different parts of your lives. Yeah. And so I think that did like shape me. You're really shaped from 18 to 24 and just like who you are and what you think you deserve. And if someone is telling you subconsciously that you don't deserve these things, you are eventually going to believe it. Yeah. Even if you're not realizing that you believe it.
Yeah. Message.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So your parents are together.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, and that's another thing. I also have parents that are still together. They've been together for like almost 40 years. I feel like people don't talk enough about the place that puts yourself in the mind. Like you're like, I need to be married and I want a lasting relationship, and you kind of like compromise, in my opinion, like you compromise more when you're in a partnership for long, because you're like, it just has to last and I need to be married at this age, and there's all these expectations that you have. Do you feel like that played a part and you just feeling like I need to have a relationship?
Yes, because I had spent so much time on it. So I think what my parents have instilled in me is like, when you have a partner, you're riding, right?
Yeah.
Like you're
riding.
I'm telling you.
No, but that was dangerous because I'm a rider. I almost rode until the wheels were off, babe. The wheels were off. The car was on fire and I was still riding. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's something I used to take a lot of pride in, is that like, hey, like I got you. You know I always got you, but it's not always healthy.
Yeah.
So I think you have to find a middle ground there. But I think that's also why I stayed around for so long. Yeah. You know what I mean? So yeah, absolutely. And it's nothing that they did. I don't think it's negative, but I think you just have to find a happy medium there. Yeah. Right? Like,
no, that's really good. But I do want to lean into that just for a second. So like the people that I'm speaking to, if you were in a car and you're riding with somebody, I'm not against it, but you are allowed to ask some questions. Literally, where are we going? What time we're going to be there? Am I safe? Like there's some things where I feel like us as women, at least I was taught, like you don't ask questions, you just let your man lead. And even if that man is leading you into a ditch, you just go. And I just don't feel like that is acceptable anymore. And I'm like happy that women are coming out of that. But like when we were growing up, there wasn't even an option. Yeah. You know?
Just ride it into hell.
Ride it into hell. Right, literally hell. Figure it out when you get there. Right. Like just go straight down. Yeah. And you know what's crazy? And like this is weird because I genuinely feel like empathy for our parents' generation because and don't get me wrong, my dad's a sweet little angel. He didn't put my mom through the hells that I have been through. But even then, my mom, like she's my best friend, so she knew a lot of the things that were happening and I was going through, and like she was just like, it's fine, like these things happen, and you know, we'll work through it this way, or it's fine, like, you know. And I kind of just wished that like there would have been like a moment where she was just like, oh heck no, pack it up, let's get out of there, you know. So it's like hard to kind of like battle these things when you only have one relationship to look up to and it's been a successful one, and my parents have known each other, been together since they were 19 years old. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I felt like I was a failure whenever I got out of that long-term relationship. And like, I don't know, like if I didn't meet Chris in the way that I met Chris, I just don't know how I would have like recovered from that.
Right.
Yeah.
Therapy.
Well, I needed some of that. I needed some of that anyway.
Oh, yeah. I feel like that probably would have, I mean, my mom's a therapist.
Yeah. Beautiful. That helps.
So I already had some tools to like know, but I think talking to someone who, you know, is not going to have those judgments of you and like is not biased or have seen like, you know, all that you've gone through, can just look at it from a different lens is really important. So the good thing is we know you're not a failure.
Yeah.
That was not healthy for you whatsoever. You should have ran a long time ago.
True.
So
I'm just like working through it. And obviously now it's taking years of being in a healthy relationship to like put it into perspective. But in that time, that 18 to 24 time, like we talked about, my entire sense of worth was, hey, am I going to be a wife? Obviously, eventually leading to a mother. And that was like where my energy was going. So I didn't feel like, I don't know, I just didn't feel like I was doing it right. So now that I know that like I have more worth and value than just being someone's partner or just, you know, I don't know, fitting into somebody's box that they've dreamed of, it is like a weight off. And I feel like a lot of young women or even older women still just don't understand that it's like, it's your life and your partner should like encourage you to be yourself. You know?
Where was your self-worth when you met Chris?
Well, and that's another thing. I was on my year off. Like, I think I went through, and like, it's not even a joke. I went through so much hellfire when it comes to relationships that I had to be forced to take a year off. Like, I went through, like, I never was without a man from age 14 up until 25. And I literally said, okay, I get it. But you guys like me, that's fine, but I don't even like myself, and I need to take a year just to figure out who I am, and I cannot take this anymore. I was so like when I say like, if I were to tell y'all the things that I put up with, like, you would be embarrassed for me. It was so bad. So I was like, this is my year for me. And then that's when Chris came into my life. So I really encourage people to like drop all of that and focus on yourself, and then your partner will meet you where you are, and that alignment will be actually perfect because you're presenting yourself as who you actually are versus what, you know, like what you think that they'll like.
Yeah, I feel like we are so similar. We know this. We've been being told this all week. But it's really real because in my time of trying to find myself and get myself back to where I need to be, I found my current boyfriend, and he has accepted every part of me. Yes. Like, the things that I was told back then that like, you're asking for too much and like that doesn't actually exist. He does it without asking. I don't ask this man to do any of those things, and he just does it.
Definition of if he wanted to, he would.
Exactly. This man, he's writing for me, okay? And it's like, I've never felt that. So in this season of like finding myself, I definitely was still in that journey. I was still in the self-worth journey, and I met him, and I was like, I need more time, you know, you want more time. And so it took another 6 to 8 months before we actually got together. But that's what I'm saying. This man was like,
take your time, babe.
Be here. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I needed that time because 6 years is a long time. And you need to give yourself the time and the space to sit with it, to be sad,
to properly heal, because you don't want to bring that baggage into the next relationship.
That's what I'm saying.
Punish
and unfortunately
your
I did. Like that, it just happened that way. But I think if you're with the right partner, like, you guys will work through it. You know what I mean?
No, you will. And on another side tangent, Leah and I had a conversation the other day about like the season of solitude and how important it is. Whether it's by force or whether it's intentional, it does not matter. You need to take the season of solitude because if you do not know yourself, when you lose yourself, you don't know who you're coming back to. And that is paramount, because you will lose yourself in a relationship no matter what, whether it's a happiness, whether it's a sadness, it's children, it's life issues. You will have seasons where you just don't remember who you are, and you need to know at your core who you are, or else you're going to be lost. So that is important. Take that season off. Yeah.
And take more time, even if you know.
I want to take the time. No, and I'm sorry, let me pull it together. Babe, take the time. Because when I say this in the sweetest possible way. I love my husband. I love my children. But when I say I have not had even a breath to myself, because you just don't. Life gets busy. Things speed up. There's births and potty training, and now there's going to be sports and activities and school, and then date nights and whatever else. I don't even have a time to read a book by myself. I listen to podcasts on 2x speed because, babe, I just don't have the time. So if people are rushing to this next season of their lives, you're going to miss like the present time. And I would love to just go back, which I wouldn't trade my life for anything, but I would love to go back to the years where I was 21 in an apartment by myself and thinking I was bored and lonely and crying because I wanted a man. Girl, get up, go to yoga, watch some Netflix alone in your pajamas, relax. The timeline just doesn't exist.
Well, what's for you won't miss you. So like if you need that extra time, it's fine.
Exactly.
Because
it's fine.
If it's for you, you're gonna get it. It's fine.
It's for. And we can say that now because we're on the other side. And I know that some people are listening like, girl, no, but we have been there, and I do understand. I just feel like when I was in that season, I was dramatic and I felt like it was the end of the world. It was not the end of the world. Like, this too shall pass. And when you do get there, you'll look back at your younger self and just laugh. Like, what is happening? But if you're in the season right now, I totally understand that it's hard. But just look at maybe us for some inspiration and just know that when you feed into yourself, you put that energy into like being the best version of yourself, you will reap the benefits. There's no way that you're going to put that work in and it's not going to come back to you tenfold. So just ignore all the people. Ignore, if he calling you, block him. I'm queen of block. These men were writing me emails. Block them, okay? And just work on you.
We love ourselves. It has to start with ourselves.
Yes. But it took a while. Like, I did not love myself back then. I love myself now. Like, I will not let anybody disrupt this peace.
Yeah. The craziest part is the realization that you don't love yourself.
Yeah. Ooh.
That's hard.
And you know what's crazy? Another mom quote. My mom, she's so real. Like, she's very Scorpio energy. Nothing is sugar-coated. She was like, it sounds like self-hatred to me. And I was like, is it? Because it was. Yeah. It totally was. Like,
she called you out.
She called me out.
It was probably like 2:00 on a Sunday.
No, girl.
Casually in conversation.
No, and I just sat and I pondered this for so long. And I was like, wow, I really have been operating out of self-hatred, because there's no way I would allow anything like this to happen to my mom, my sister, my cousin, my best friend, any of that. Why am I letting it happen to myself? Only because I just didn't think I was worthy.
And that's an amazing way to look at it, right?
Yeah.
Is like, you accepted it for yourself, but if somebody was doing your best friend like this,
baby, no, I know. And here's me, I've actually like fought people over my best friend. I'm like, because you're not going to treat my best friend like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but we should be our own best friend.
I hated myself. I did.
Yeah. No, I had to.
Yeah. Had to.
Yeah.
And that's hard.
Girl, because I'm like, you believed all the lies. Like, we've all been there. So it's like, on Valentine's Day, okay, we're back to our full circle moment. On Valentine's Day, if you are, and I'm just going to say this, even if you have a man, right? Prioritize yourself.
Yeah.
Do something for yourself, even that's, like I said, 5 minutes of reading a book because you don't have time. That's a facial. That's, you can tell your man, I will tell my man, hey, babe, I just need an hour to myself. Take these kids, love them to death, and just give me some time to myself. And if you are single, I would suggest that you spend some time journaling, manifesting your future partner if that's what you desire, and just like writing down, scripting, this is how I feel when I wake up, this is how my partner makes me feel when they compliment me or when they support me in this way. I just feel so overwhelmed with love and gratitude, and I'm so grateful that they're, faithful and they're sweet and that they love the Lord, and whatever it is that you desire, like, spend some time on that. Be intentional about your love, but then also cut yourself some slack. Don't force yourself to be in a place that you're not. Sit, work on self-love, and just lean into being selfish. It's my selfish season.
That was I went through that whole like year. I called it that.
Yeah.
Like, it's my time to be selfish.
Yes.
And I'm a big believer in journaling. Like, because I'm telling you,
it's good.
I'm telling you, writing your thoughts down, how you're feeling, because like that next month, when you go back and you read that entry,
girl,
sometimes I'd be like, whew.
No.
Is that how I was really feeling? Because that's crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and it also tells me that I'm growing. So it's twofold, right? Like, it's like, okay, it makes me feel better. It's also telling me, hey, you're growing.
You can measure the mindset.
Yes. Yes. Those entries.
No, girl, I know. And I'm like, I can only imagine.
Yeah. I was going through it. by myself in LA, you know what I mean? Like, I think that's also hard too. Like, you have to have like some type of community. Like, I feel like some people go through this, they don't have a community, you know, because you're in this relationship, you don't have self-worth. So sometimes you don't have a community because all of your time was spent with this person.
Yeah, and you've isolated yourself, or they have isolated you in a way where you've lost the people. Yes.
So like, how do you get that out? Like, there's gotta be help. And I would say if you don't have anyone, it would be journaling. Yeah. 110%.
Also, I want to address this because since we're talking about it, if you are currently still in one of these relationships, get a journal that locks. Because and this is just me speaking from experience, I have had past relationships where they will just go in my journal and read things and then confront me about these things, and it causes like extra fights. It is okay to not be in a place where you're ready to leave, but know that the leaving is coming, because I feel like we've all been there. Where it's like, I know I should have left a long time ago. That feeling of wanting to leave happened about a year before I actually left, or I went back and forth maybe 6 or 7, 8 times where I shouldn't have. That is also okay. Don't let anybody make you feel bad about that. And the judging, it's just not going to happen. If you need a community, we're right here, and we can just talk about it in the comment section or in our private group. It doesn't matter. But don't let anybody rush your process. But document it, because eventually, like I said, it will pass. But if you're still there and this is a relationship that you know is unhealthy for you and you just can't get away from it, anxious attachment or just trauma bonding, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? Like, you feel like I don't want to start over, you feel like you're not good enough, it's okay. But if you have this feeling in your heart that it's not right for you and it's unhealthy, then that means it probably is not the best fit for you. Take your time getting out of it, but just go ahead and pack a little bit, work your way out.
And maybe, babe, this is your sign.
Yeah, literally, maybe this is your sign to wrap it up
for a reason. And like, this is where you need to love yourself more. Yeah. Because I wish I loved myself more earlier.
Me. Yep, and choose yourself.
Choose yourself. Yeah. I wish I would have done it.
I know.
Way earlier than I did.
Yep. And then get a partner that chooses you too.
Period.
Because.
Period.
Yeah. And on that note, we love you guys. I feel like this community is just becoming the space that I really needed when I was a young girl. And even as an adult. So this is not even about like age. You don't have to be younger than me to like tune in and listen and learn. But I just love a community that works through things and talks about things that are uncomfortable. Holidays, often they kind of suck for some people because it's so, here's the perfect picture and everything's great. And that's not how life always is, even if you're in a relationship. So thank you for tuning in and allowing us to just be real and talk about some of the things that we're dealing with. Know that this is always your safe space. And I love you, love you, love you. Until next time.